just this evening. And before I get started with this very important lecture, I just want to take a moment to thank all of my supporters and everyone for supporting my channel as we get ready for exciting year of 2026. Unbelievable. So with that being said, let's get on down to today's lecture. And I've been wanting to lecture on this topic for a while, which is do not let your social media accounts, in terms of what you post on social media rule, block you from opportunity. This is a real discussion. There have been so many people that I personally know. There are even people who go on social media talking about how they have lost jobs. They have been fired from jobs because of their posting on social media, or lose other opportunities, whether it's a contract. I don't care if if you're an independent contractor, you still have to interface with stakeholders to get that contract. Or, just in terms of interfacing with people who may be able to guide you in the correct direction. But because of what you may put on social media, I'm here to tell you, it can block you from all of that. Although I'm retired, I've been fully retired from state government. I'm also military. I've been fully retired for 2 years, but I still, in retirement, people make money under my credentials, under my company, meaning I'm interfacing with stakeholders. I'm still getting contracts. And you better understand that these stakeholders, before you can get that contract, before you can make that money, but before you can get that job or get that collaboration, they are going on social media to check you out. There are many companies, even prior to me retiring. I retired from state government, and part of the hiring process for state government is any new employee has to pass a social media check. And even when you get that job, that organization, that company, that business, they're going to periodically check your social media account. They're going to review your material. And reputable employers now, because they're getting fed up with individuals out here posting a lot of derogatory information on social media. Many people will be in there, have their name badge on or their uniform on social media, slamming their job or talking negative about their coworkers or talking negative about the supervisors or managers, or filming live footage while they're on the job. And they have gotten fired from this. Companies now have policies and procedures in place, and they should, in relation to social media, meaning they're paying you. These jobs are paying you to perform the essential functions of your job. They are not paying for you to be at work on social media live streaming. They're not paying you to do this. I know many people in the real world who have lost multiple jobs because of live streaming while they at work, on social media while they at work, and not performing their jobs. And I'm gonna tell you something, they basically expose themselves. It will not take much for a coworker to forward this video to the supervisor. You may think everybody laughing with you and joking with you while you doing all this live streaming on the job and in uniform. I got your name badge on, and talking about each situation on the job and what's going on, and many times violating confidentiality. You're behind, should get fired. And I tell people, companies now, because my employer been started doing, long before I retired, they've been started doing social media checks as part of the pre-employment process, and you had to pass that social media check. It don't matter how much experience you have. It don't matter about your credentials. You can pass the background check. You can pass the drug screen. You can have the appropriate qualifications and skills and credentials and all of that. But if you fail that social media check, and even though you passed everything else, you will not get the job. You are blocking yourself. And you got a lot of people who are on these various social media platforms, doing all this derogatory language, cursing in fights with folks on social media, people who you never even met before, all of this inappropriate footage and language and struggle content and everything from A to Z that they're posting negatively, that making themselves look bad. Now they wonder why they lose their job. They wonder why they can't get that job, or they wonder why they can't get that contract. This is real talk. I have a lot of credentials. I really do. I'm a licensed clinical addiction specialist. I'm credentialed at the state level. I'm credentialed at the national level. I'm credentialed at the federal level. I'm credentialed in 3 different states with all of my accolades in terms of my credentials. I still have to go through processes to get contracts under my company. I still have to pass, drug screens, background check, social media check. You better believe they verifying all my credentials from A to Z. This is real talk. And I'm telling you, this is I had a conversation with a couple of people a couple of weeks ago in the real world. And I'm just listening. I was just listening. They just using me as a sounding board. And these 2 individuals were upset, hurt, and disgruntled because both of these individuals got fired from their job for violation of the HR social media policies and procedures. And as part of the hiring process, and even throughout, these organizations are going over not just policies and procedures in relation to social media, but policies and procedures in relation to the organization. And so if they're going over this policy and procedure specifically about social media, you have to read off on this policy and procedure. You have to sign off on it. They're giving you a copy of it. They're reviewing it throughout your duration of that employment. And if you select to violate these policies and procedures in relation to social media policies, and it's clearly telling you will be terminated if you violate this, help me understand. And once I listened to these 2 individuals in the real world, I listened for about a good 20, 30 minutes, just listening. And at the end of the listening, I asked both of them on 2 different occasions the thought-provoking question: help me understand your reason. First, I asked them, did the company have policies and procedures in place in relation to social media? They both said yes. Then my second question was, did they review that policies and procedures with you, and did you sign off on it, and did you get a copy of the HR policies and procedures? They both said yes. And my third question was, well, help me understand, if you're telling me you violated these policies and you got fired, and it clearly stated in policies and procedures, if this is what you do, there's certain things on jobs that you do that's grounds for immediate termination. And companies are taking the social media piece serious because these organizations and companies and stakeholders, they have an image to protect. If you're going on social media, bashing that job, bashing that employer, breaching confidentiality, filming live footage on that job in terms of things that should have been taken to HR, don't be surprised if you're behind, get fired. And it's happening more and more and more. I don't know what it is people are popularizing. A lot of times they'll do a live footage when they're on the job getting fired. They're going to film live footage showing themselves, showing they behind because they got fired, cursing out the supervisor, cursing out the manager, throwing over the table, causing chaos and confusion. A lot of times the police are called and they're filming this. Like this is a proud thing to do. Popularized to do. You're filming yourself, getting fired from a job for the whole world to see. And you're not even thinking that it don't matter if you delete something, it's out there in the social media world. And you don't even realize that you're blocking yourself. You are blocking yourself from the next opportunity. And I'm telling you, this is real. I mean, like I said, I know many people who have lost their jobs because number one, they can't stay on social media when they're supposed to be performing their job. And many of them lost their jobs because they're on social media when they should be performing the essential functions of their job. They're getting behind on their duties. They're violating policy. These companies are not paying you to be on social media. They are paying you to perform the essential functions of your job. Prior to me retiring, I'm here to tell you, and I was a supervisor. I retired from state government, and they had policies and procedures in place. And I'm gonna keep this thing real. Even as a supervisor, we were, and it was in policy, we were not allowed to even bring our cell phones in the building. And at the facility I worked at, it was well over 300 plus employees. It was a huge building. No one was allowed to bring their cell phones in the building, and HR meant that in any shape, form, or fashion. Real talk. Even as a supervisor, I could not bring my cell phone in the building. And how we communicated was by old-fashioned people, radios. So if you got a family emergency coming up, your family better call that switchboard. And when your family member called the switchboard, that switchboard will relay that information to your supervisor. Then the supervisor will relay that information to the employee. These people were serious. And I'm here and they had it in policies and procedures. They went over it with us. We had to sign off on it, and they will review these policies twice a year. People, I saw many people work for state government, lost their job behind violating that policy. The companies are getting tight, and you know what? I don't blame them. I don't blame them. And what I discover about when you have to leave your cell phone in a car for a shift, rather it's an 8-hour shift, a 10-hour shift, a 12-hour shift. And when you leave that cell phone in your vehicle in the summertime, that cell phone will become so hot, it'll shut down. So in the summertime, because I couldn't bring my cell phone in the building, in the summertime, I will put my cell phone, wrap it up in a plastic bag, and put it on ice, and left it in my car, so it wouldn't overheat while I was working my 8, 9, 10-hour shift. Real talk, people. And like I said, enough is enough. I mean, because there's a time and place for when you should be on your cell phone. When you're performing the essential job functions, you should not be on that cell phone. When you are driving, there are laws against being on the cell phone driving. When you're out there in the natural environment, you need to be aware of what's going on in front of you, behind you, to the left, to the right. People are getting killed walking in traffic because their eyes so glued on the cell phone. Enough is enough. Because I'm about being aware of my surroundings. I'm about knowing what's going on around me, because I'm telling you, people are getting snatched every day. Full-grown men and women are getting snatched every day, and you make it real easy to get snatched because you're glued on the cell phone and you have no clue who's walking up on you. They can be up on you, you won't even know it, because you're glued on the cell phone. You're like a walking zombie. Enough is enough. Because I'm telling you, I observe people in the natural environment. I make it my business to know what's going on when I'm walking up out of my house. I ain't going to have no doggone cell phone in my hand. I'm going to be aware of what's going on in front of me, anywhere I go in the natural environment, whether it's the grocery store, gas station, bank, taking a walk, exercising outside. I'm going to know who's up on me. This is real talk. Awareness. So I'm telling you, I'm telling you, people better wake up. We're in the year of 2026. And I'm telling you, this social media check in terms of getting a job, I don't care if it's a W-2 job, I don't care if it's a 1099, I don't care if it's an independent contractor, I don't care if it's a collaborating with stakeholders, they're doing these checks. And if you don't pass that social media check, you will not get that job. You will not get that contract. You're going to blow a lot of powerful opportunity, and it's affecting people of all ages. In the teenagers, people in their 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and even older, out of control. You know, to the point where most people don't even know how to hold a real conversation in the real world without the phone in the hand. To me, a real conversation is not where you looking down on your cell phone, engaging in dialogue on social media, but yet you got somebody in front of you in the real world, and you trying to no, that's not real conversation. And it's sad to the point where most people don't even know how to hold real conversations, which can have an impact on blocking opportunity if you don't know how to hold a real conversation. Real talk, people, in terms of collaborating and communicating with potential stakeholders, with potential business collaboratives. You got to be able to communicate. You got to be able to have that eye contact. Real talk. I've been wanting to discuss this for a while, and I'm telling you, I talk to a lot of people, and like I said, even though I fully retired, I still have to interface with stakeholders because I have a lot of powerful credentials where I utilize my credentials to get ongoing contracts, and there's processes I have to go to confer that contract. And a lot of that is not just verifying my knowledge, skills, and abilities and credentials and background check and drug screen and all of that. They checking out my social media. And if you look at any of my 10,000 plus published videos, everything that I have is thought-provoking, motivational, educational, inspiring, real talk, useful information to the world. I'm not cursing. I'm not doing any kind of derogatory content. I'm not going back and forth arguing with anybody. No, I'm giving you real talk, useful information like I'm doing right now. Or it can be one of my live screen lectures. I do a lot of traveling abroad, when I do my travel abroad live screen lectures, that's motivational, powerful, educational, real talk, people. I may do a coffee short. And I'm telling you, this thing is real. You got people right now who have lost opportunity already in January of 2026 because of their doggone social media account. And you know what? I'm going to just keep it real, and they should. Real talk. So share this information. And again, I want to thank all of my supporters. I see I got some folks in my live stream. I really do appreciate that. Again, I just want to thank everyone for supporting my channel, and anyone who's been on my channel long enough know that I'm going to acknowledge my supporters. I'm going to acknowledge my viewers. But what I'm not going to do, I ain't going back and forth responding to these comments in this live stream because that'll slow up my deliverance. But I do want to acknowledge and thank everyone for stopping by. Share this very informative lecture because somebody might need to hear this as we have ushered into the year of 2026. A lot of people are blocking their own growth in all areas because of what they post on social media. Real talk. That's all I have. Simplify, simple fidelis, and I'm going to leave you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.